the previous lesson, we have implemented the thread selection mechanism, where we click on a thread and we are going to select here the current message. We have dispatched the thread selection action and we have implemented the reducing logic. And we know that this component here, the message section smart component, is already receiving a new version of the state that contains everything that is necessary to display the messages. So we know which thread is selected and we have the messages of all the threads contained inside the store state. So now what we're going to do is we are going to implement this smart component, but instead of implementing it step by step, because it's in every way similar to the thread section component, what we're going to do here is we are going to provide an implementation for it and we are going to review it together so that you see that it's in every way identical to the thread section component and to avoid that the course gets very long. So the first thing that we're going to do here is we are going to check out a branch in our application that contains here the message view that is already ready, and we're going to review it together. And this is the starting point for continuing further in the course. You should really switch to this branch and take it from there. Now what we will do is we are going to check out the following branch. Type git branch in your terminal and you will have a list of branches. The list will be different from what you see here, but you will see a branch called message view ready. If you check out that branch, and let's clear the terminal and type again git branch to see which branch we are in the message view ready branch. So here we have a version of the application which already has a message section running. So let's start it up. We're going to do npm start to launch our development server. You should now have a running application. And before we switch over to the browser, I want you to take a look to the message section component. So this is the right hand side of our application with the list of messages. As you can see, this is in every way identical to the thread section smart component, the other smart component of our application. We're going to switch over to the browser and we're going to come back to the application and review the implementation of the message section component. So let's switch to the browser and we have here our running application. So here on the right hand side we have the Redux DevTools, the NGRX Store DevTools, and here we have our running application. Now if we click in one of the threads, we should see here displayed the list of messages of that thread, and we should see here a new action in the store. So let's give it a try. If we click on the Alice and Bob thread, we have here, and we can scroll up and down, we have here the list of messages of this thread as expected. And we have here the action that was dispatched. If we have a look at the state, we can see that the current thread is now set to 1. If we click here on this other thread, and we're going to add here some logic to highlight this thread as being the selected thread, we can see that the current thread is now 2. If we go back to the previous state, it was before 1, and so forth. If we click on the third thread, we can see that the current thread ID on the state is set to 3. So we can see that at this point in the course, most of our UI is already displayed, which is exactly what we wanted. Now let's review the implementation of the message section component. So this part here where we see the list of messages of a thread. You will be surprised of how similar it is to the other smart component. And this similarity is actually one of the main benefits of using a store-like architecture. So all our smart components look very similar to each other. Let's review the new message section component in the following lesson.